In the United States, presidential candidate Joe Biden officially won the states of Michigan and Wisconsin, giving an optimistic outcome of the polls for the Democratic candidate. Storm Ida pummeled Nicaragua and Honduras with torrential rains after triggering major floods and landslides in Central America. Ultra-nationalist Turkish group of the Grey Gulfs has dissolved during the Council of Ministers. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Gladys Quesada from the TeleSUR English headquarters in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has won the state of Michigan and Wisconsin, grabbing 26 electoral votes. Wins in Arizona and Nevada will get him to 2,070 electoral votes, or Pennsylvania will put him over the top. As the nation remains on the edge, Biden gave a speech in Delaware where he was optimistic about the outcome of the polls.
And now, after a long night of counting, it's clear that we're winning enough states to reach 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report that when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners.
Biden also won Wisconsin, flipping a state President Trump narrowly won in 2016. The Associated Press called Wisconsin for Biden after election officials in the state said all outstanding ballots have been counted, save for a few hundred in one township and an expected small number of provisional ballots. Statewide recounts in Wisconsin have historically changed the vote, the tally also, by only a few hundred votes. Biden leads by 0.624 percentage point out of nearly 3.3 million ballots counted.
I think we all went to bed on pins and needles and woke up this morning with Wisconsin's news in a better place. We are waiting, of course, for all of the other states to tally their votes and certify those results. I think that it's laid bare again the deep chasms that exist with regard to where we're at as a country.
And despite Biden's Michigan and Wisconsin wins, the race is still too tight to declare a clear winner. Vote counting continues, and results so far suggest a tie contest in important battlegrounds: Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia. In Pennsylvania, probably the most crucial swing state, there are millions of ballots are left to be counted, according to the Secretary of State. The likeliest outcome by far in Arizona is that the remaining ballots are good enough for Biden. Of the 200,000 uncounted votes in Georgia, most come from left-leaning areas of metropolitan Atlanta, suggesting they are likely to skew Democratic. In Nevada, the Secretary of State's office says no more results will be issued until Thursday midday. While in North Carolina, there are about 100,000 outstanding ballots. However, with more than 70 million votes, Biden has already broken the record set by Barack Obama for the most votes accrued by any presidential candidate in the U.S. history. The Trump campaign said that it is going to the Supreme Court, asking it to intervene in a pending case, challenging a Pennsylvania Supreme Court decision that allowed ballots to be counted after Election Day. The justices refused to expedite the appeal before the election, but they are still considering whether to take up the case. This Wednesday, United States health authorities recorded a record of nearly 100,000 new cases of COVID-19 infection. The election was taking place in the midst of a pandemic, and on Wednesday, the U.S. set a new record for the highest number of new daily cases recorded anywhere in the world. According to the Johns Hopkins University tracker, yesterday the U.S. recorded 102,831 new cases of coronavirus and saw over 1,000 new COVID-19 deaths. Local news media reported that 23 states have recorded more cases in the past week than in any other 7-day stretch, and 5 states, Colorado, Indiana, Maine, Minnesota, and Nebraska, all set new single-day case records on Wednesday. Deaths related to the coronavirus have increased 21% across the country in the last 2 weeks. On Wednesday, the United States formally excited the Paris Agreement, fulfilling a year-old promise by the President Donald Trump to withdraw the world's second-largest greenhouse gas emitter from the global pact to fight climate change. The outcome of the close U.S. election contest will determine for how long this withdrawal will remain, as the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has promised to rejoin the agreement if elected. President Trump announced his intention to withdraw the United States from the pact in 2017, arguing it would undermine the U.S. economy. The administration formally served notice to the United Nations 1 year ago on November 4, 2019. This departure makes the United States the only country of 197 signatories to have withdrawn from the agreement struck in 2015. We'll go now to a short break. Follow us in Twitter at TeleSUR English and also in TeleSUR. Welcome back to From the South. Storm Ida pummeled Nicaragua and Honduras with torrential rain on Wednesday, after triggering major floods and landslides in Central America, reportedly killing at least 3 people and stranding dozens of fishermen in the Atlantic. This is one of the most powerful storms to strike Central America in years, hit Nicaragua as a Category 4 hurricane of the 5-step Saffir-Simpson scale, before weakening to a tropical storm as it forged inland in the impoverished country. After losing more strength over Central America, Ida is forecast to return to the sea and regain momentum as a tropical storm, charting a course to Cuba and also to southern Florida this weekend, the U.S. National Hurricane Center (NHC) said. Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernández announced the decision to extend the state of red alert in the country, while urging Hondurans to follow experts' advice, as Ida dumped massive rainfall even before passing over the country.
The entire national territory has already been declared on red alert, so the warnings have been given, and I would like to emphatically ask the Honduran follow up on everything that COPECO is saying. The land in Honduras is filled, saturated with water, that, with the next few hours of rains, because of this phenomenon, has already entered national territory on the side of Trojus, is going to have its consequences. That's why it's important that we all take care of ourselves.
This Wednesday, the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, highlighted the beginning of the electoral campaign, which will take place until December 3, 2020.
We are heading for an election on December 6 that is absolutely popular, imminent, participatory. Yesterday, it kicked off 107 political parties, of which 90% are parties and political groups opposed to the revolution. 14,400 candidates were deployed yesterday. The electoral campaign in Venezuela started Tuesday, November 3rd, and it would last until Thursday, December 3rd.
And in Colombia, former Farc-EP combatants, members of the Walk for Life and Peace, reached agreements with government delegates to advance in the effective implementation of the peace accords. According to the leaders of the pilgrimage and members of the Farc party, the agenda defined for the talks with the spokesperson of President Iván Duque contemplates non-violence and security guarantees for the demobilized signatories of the peace agreement, the implementation of the reincorporation system, the recognition of lands for reincorporation, and the fulfillment on the peace agreement. In Chile, the Commission for the Constitution, Legislation and Justice approved the initiative of the second withdrawal of 10% of the pension fund. With 7 votes in favor and 6 against, the Legislative Commission approved the first article of the project, which will allow Chileans to make the second withdrawal of 10% of their pension funds. The sessions to approve the rest of the details of the project was postponed until tomorrow, Thursday 5, before the refusal of the right-wing deputy Juan Antonio Coloma to extend the debate until concluding the discussion of the project. On Wednesday, the first Chinese experimental COVID-19 vaccines from the Sinovac laboratory arrived in Chile to be used for clinical trials. President Sebastián Piñera announced the arrival after a plane carried a set of experimental COVID-19 vaccines developed by Chinese pharmaceutical firm Sinovac Biotech landed in the South American country for the start of the clinical trials. Each vaccine includes 2 doses, which must be given to 14 days apart. For this project, volunteers from the health area will be the first to receive these doses, as they are the ones at most risk of getting infected. In Bolivia, the ProSanta Cruz Civic Committee, PSCC, plans to strike starting Thursday over the results of the general elections held on October 18. PSCC President Rómulo Calvo made the announcement after meeting with the committee's board of directors on November the 3rd. The protest is set to begin in the eastern sector of Chiquitano, extending throughout Santa Cruz for a period of 24 hours. Meanwhile, a group of demonstrators gathered outside the PSCC building, demanding that an indefinite civil strike be declared. Some sectors of the Bolivian far-right have asked for an audit of the election, also on the results, arguing an alleged fraud. However, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal President Salvador Romero ruled out the petition, noted that the official count concluded with the endorsement of national and foreign observation missions. Right-wing organizations in Santa Cruz and Cochabamba have rejected the results of the elections. So far, however, none of them have presented any evidence of their complaints. Leopoldo Luque, Diego Maradona's doctor, said that the Argentinian football legend is recovering without any complications after his successful brain surgery for a blood clot. On Monday, the World Cup winner Maradona had been taken to a hospital in La Plata, where he is the coach of a top-flight Side B, for a series of tests after feeling unwell. A scan revealed the blood clot, and on Tuesday he was transferred to a specialist clinic in Buenos Aires to undergo a brain surgery.
Diego's evolution proceeds without any complication. Diego is alert, he is without any type of neurological deficit, without any type of complication associated with the surgery.
And we have more stories coming up after this final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back. In France, the ultra-nationalist Turkish group of the Grey Wolves was dissolved on Wednesday during the Council of Ministers in accordance with the instructions of the President of the Republic. Let's have a look.
This morning in the Council of Ministers, we thus pronounce the dissolution of the Grey Wolves, a violent grouping, a grouping which has distinguished itself in the use of weapons against the force of law and order. It calls for hatred and violence, particularly against Armenians, and whose mark we have still found on the absolutely infamous attacks committed against the National Center of Armenian Memory in the scenes. This is the third dissolution that we have pronounced in 3 weeks, and we will obviously continue on this point.
And also in France, COVID-19 cases have passed the 4,000 mark this Wednesday, which is an increment of Tuesday 36,000 and a decrease of Monday's 52,000. According to the Ministry of Health, the total number of cases is over 1.5 million cases, but they add that the number of new cases reported on Wednesday was a minimum number that could increase due to problems with data gathering. The ministry also reported that the number of people who have died from the virus increased by 385 on Wednesday to complete 38,674 compared with 854 on Tuesday, but those numbers included a multi-day batch of 428 deaths in retirement homes. In France, a new center for detection of COVID-19 infections in the Parisian region was opened on Wednesday. Saint-Denis is one of the 5 cities in the Le France region to receive the diagnostic center. People are trained to serve 200 people a day and is one of the first of its kind to offer rapid antigenic testing for flu viruses. According to the medical staff in charge, the tests are performed via the nose and provide that the results are obtained between 10 and 30 minutes without sending the samples to a laboratory. The local authorities stated that the test is free and intended mainly for asymptomatic people. On 22 October, France decreed a national strike after the daily rebounds of the new coronavirus. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte announced a nationwide curfew and tougher measures for some regions as Italy faces a surge in coronavirus cases. From Friday, Italy's 60 million residents will be required to stay at home from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m., except for work or health reasons under a new decree signed by the Prime Minister. Under the new rules, the country's regions will be divided into zones, high risk, medium high, and moderate, based on how quickly the virus is spreading and availability of hospital beds, among other factors.
We have divided Italy into 3 areas, yellow, orange and red. Each of them have different restrictions. All the measures are going to be in place from this Friday.
Austria's Interior Minister Karl Nehammer said the country's domestic intelligence service received warnings from neighboring Slovakia that the person responsible for the deadly shooting in Vienna wanted to procure ammunition.
In the last few hours, information has come to light that sometime prior to the terror attack, Slovakian intelligence informed Austria's domestic intelligence service about the attacker. The information was that he wanted to get ammunition. In what followed, there were obviously problems in communication.
He also accused his far-right predecessor of inflicting lasting damage to domestic intelligence services, as investigations into Monday's attack point to security failings.
I have to hold back now to find the right words that are appropriate for a minister. It is and disqualifies itself fundamentally that Herbert Kilk, who is responsible for the fact that the intelligence service in Austria is so destroyed and that it must be built up in such a way as it is now by our Reform Project group, that of all people it is now him that shouts loudest.
Jordan's health minister reported 62 new deaths from COVID-19 on Wednesday, the highest daily death toll since the pandemic began in the Middle Eastern kingdom nearly 8 months ago. The health ministry also reported 4,658 new confirmed coronavirus cases in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative total to 91,234 cases. Jordan has seen an exponential rise in the last month and now has the highest per capita infection and death rates of Arab states. Health Minister Nasir Obeidat has warned the country that has not yet reached its peak in daily cases and blamed the spread of the lack of adherence to social distancing and not wearing masks. With one of the strictest lockdowns in the world, Jordan, a country of 10 million, got the contagion under control by the summer. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also, if you feel so inclined, join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For TeleSUR English, my name is Gladys Quesada and thank you for watching.